Every night, the light in the old hallway flickered, casting long, dancing shadows that twisted across the walls. Clara had grown accustomed to it, dismissing it as a mere electrical fault. But tonight felt different. The air was thicker, charged with an unsettling energy. As she passed the doorway, the light dimmed, and a shape seemed to flicker just at the edge of her vision. She halted, heart racing, peering into the darkness. Nothing moved, yet she felt a presence behind her. She spun around, but the hallway was empty. Shaking off the feeling, Clara returned to her room. The flickering resumed, more insistent now. Each pulse of light revealed the outline of something, tall, slender, and impossibly still. She grabbed her phone, the screen illuminating the room, and cautiously stepped back into the hallway. The light was brighter now, almost blinding, and as it flickered, the shape morphed, growing closer with each pulse. In an instant, the light went out, plunging her into darkness. Clara was frozen, terror gripping her as she felt cold breath on her neck. The moment the light flickered back on, she gasped, realizing she was not alone. There in the glow stood a version of herself, eyes wide with horror, trapped in a silent scream. The old house creaked with age, but it was the whispers that unsettled Mia most. Each night, as she settled into her bed, the soft murmurs drifted down from the attic. At first, she dismissed them as the wind or her imagination, but they grew more distinct, forming a haunting chorus of unintelligible words. Curiosity gnawed at her until, one fateful night, she resolved to investigate. Grabbing a flashlight, she climbed the rickety stairs, the air growing cold and thick with unease. The whispers swirled around her, now sounding like pleas. "Help us," they seemed to beg. Heart pounding, Mia pushed open the attic door. Dust particles danced in the narrow beam of her light, revealing a cramped space filled with forgotten relics and darkness. As she stepped inside, the whispers intensified, surrounding her like a clamoring crowd. Suddenly, her flashlight flickered and died, plunging her into suffocating blackness. Panic surged. She stumbled back towards the door, but it slammed shut, trapping her inside. The whispers transformed into laughter, low, mocking, and hungry. They were no longer pleas, they were promises. As the last light of her sanity dimmed, Mia realized she was not alone. She never would be again. Emily always loved the old mirror in her grandmother's attic, its ornate frame a relic of the past. One stormy night, seeking solace from the thunder, she climbed up to gaze into it. As lightning illuminated the attic, she noticed something strange. Her reflection smiled back at her, even though her own lips were pressed into a thin line of confusion. Heart racing, she blinked, certain it was a trick of the light. But the reflection remained, grinning wider, eyes glinting with malice. Panic surged through her as she stepped back, but the reflection didn't move. Instead, it raised a hand, beckoning her closer. Against her better judgment, Emily leaned in, drawn by an inexplicable force. Suddenly, the glass rippled like water, and without warning, her reflection lunged forward, yanking her into the mirror's depths. Trapped in the cold, dark void, she screamed, but it echoed only within her mind. Outside, the mirror reflected the attic, still and quiet. In the glass, Emily's reflection now wore her face, wearing a satisfied smile. It whispered softly, "Your turn to be me." And in the stillness of the attic, the last flicker of lightning faded, leaving only the reflection watching, waiting. In the forgotten library of her great-uncle's mansion, Emma unearthed an aged, leather-bound journal. Its cover was scarred with claw-like marks, and its pages smelled faintly of soot. The journal seemed blank at first, but as Emma turned the pages, words began to appear in a childlike scrawl, describing the life of a boy named Samuel who vanished under strange circumstances during a fire. Intrigued, Emma kept the journal close, unaware of its ominous power. Each night, more entries surfaced, recounting Samuel's growing fear of the shadow, a sinister figure that tormented him. Emma began hearing faint whispers while reading, and flickering shadows danced across her room's walls, even in complete darkness. One night, she woke to find the journal open on her desk, the words "I see you" freshly inked. Frightened, Emma researched the mansion's history and discovered that Samuel had tried to warn his family of the shadow before he disappeared. Now, the journal served as a beacon, drawing the shadow to its reader. When Emma attempted to destroy the book, she found it untouched on her nightstand the next morning, its final message chilling her to the core. "You're next." The shadow lingered after that, growing closer each night, until Emma's reflection vanished from every mirror. All that remained was a pair of glowing eyes in the darkness. In a village shrouded by dense woods, whispers of an ancient curse loomed like shadows. Each year, to appease the unseen force that haunted their lands, one villager would vanish, never to be seen again. This year, it was Clara's turn. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the villagers gathered at the old stone altar, their faces pale and eyes full of dread. Clara, trembling but resolute, stepped forward, her heart pounding in her chest. She had volunteered, believing the sacrifice would save her loved ones. As the villagers chanted in hushed tones, Clara felt the cold grip of despair clutching her throat. Suddenly, an eerie howl pierced the night, and the ground trembled beneath her feet. The atmosphere thickened, and she sensed the presence of something sinister. In a panic, she turned to flee. But the villagers, their faces eerily calm, blocked her path. With horror dawning, Clara realized the truth. They weren't here to save her. They were the sacrifice. In an instant, the altar cracked open, revealing a gaping maw of darkness. As she was pulled into the abyss, Clara's screams echoed through the woods, merging with the whispers of the villagers, who smiled knowingly, their offering complete.
Fans of the beloved 1990s children's show Sunny Friends Club claim a lost episode aired only once before vanishing. Known for its cheerful tone and colorful characters, this episode was different, darker, unsettling, and impossible to find. Rumors spread on forums. Viewers remembered an episode where the characters behaved strangely. The animation was off, the colors muted, and the music warped. Instead of the usual playful antics, the characters wandered aimlessly, mumbling incoherent phrases. The episode ended with the main character staring directly at the screen, their eyes unnaturally wide. A low, droning sound played as they whispered, "We're not safe. Neither are you." Then the screen cut to static. Network executives denied the episode existed, but scattered accounts persisted. Some claimed they felt ill after watching it, plagued by nightmares and paranoia. Others swore they saw symbols flash on the screen, as if hiding a secret message. One former network employee anonymously claimed the episode was a test for subliminal messaging in a government experiment. It was allegedly pulled after its first airing, but not before affecting those who saw it. To this day, no recordings have surfaced. Fans searching for it report strange occurrences, files corrupting, devices crashing, and brief flickers of the main character's face staring lifelessly. Was it a hoax, a cover-up, or something more sinister? All that remains is the whispered name, Sunny Friends Club.
Jason always dismissed the weird looks people gave him. "You were just here," strangers would say, but Jason would laugh it off. How could he be in two places at once? Then his girlfriend, Emma, started acting distant. "You've been so cold lately," she said one night. Jason was confused. He hadn't seen her all day. Things got worse when he walked into his apartment and heard laughter coming from the living room. He froze. Emma was there, sitting on the couch, talking to someone. It was him. The other Jason turned to look at him, smiling in a way that sent chills down his spine. "You're not supposed to be here," it said, its voice too smooth, too perfect. Jason backed away, but Emma stared at him in confusion. "Jason, what's wrong?" she asked, looking between the two of them. The other Jason stood, its movements unnervingly fluid. "I'm the better version," it said. "You've had your chance." Before Jason could react, the double lunged. When the police arrived hours later, Emma insisted there was only one Jason. But every time he passed a mirror, his reflection stared back with wide, terrified eyes, silently begging for help.
What if all you know about the Conjuring House was a lie? Originating from real-life events in the 1970s, this infamous location is steeped in horror. The Perron family who moved in experienced unexplained phenomena, whispers, cold spots, and ghostly apparitions. Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned paranormal investigators, were called to help. They claimed the house was haunted by a witch named Bathsheba Sherman, who once lived there and cursed anyone who dared to take her land. The family's terrifying encounters inspired chilling tales, blurring reality and fiction. Are the Warrens' claims fabricated? Or is something sinister lurking within those walls? Subscribe for more eerie stories.
Clara always closed her curtains before bed, but lately she'd wake to find them slightly open. Her neighbors began mentioning seeing her standing at the window late at night, staring out. "You were just watching," her friend said one morning. "I waved, but you didn't move." Clara laughed nervously. "I was asleep." One night, she stayed awake, determined to catch whatever was happening. At 3 a.m., a faint tapping came from the window. Heart pounding, Clara turned to see a figure standing outside, her own face staring back at her. The shadow smiled and tapped again, its movements jerky and unnatural. "Let me in," it mouthed. Clara backed away, grabbing her phone, but when she looked again, the figure was inside, standing by the window. It moved toward her, its steps perfectly mirroring hers. "You've been living my life," it whispered. "Now it's my turn." Before Clara could scream, the shadow lunged. The next morning, Clara greeted her neighbors with a cheerful smile. But at night, behind the closed curtains, her reflection pressed its hands against the glass, its face twisted in silent, desperate terror. Flight 717 was a routine red-eye from Chicago to Denver. It was a clear night, and passengers settled in for the short flight. But 45 minutes in, the plane abruptly disappeared from radar. No distress signal, no debris, just gone. The official report blamed a freak electrical malfunction, but conspiracy theorists had other ideas. Some claimed the plane was hijacked by shadowy government forces. Others believed it entered a time slip, or was abducted by something not of this world. Months later, strange reports surfaced. A farmer in Nebraska claimed to see a plane hovering silently in the sky before vanishing. Hikers in Colorado found a field littered with charred airline seats, but no sign of passengers. Then, nearly a year to the day after its disappearance, Flight 717 reappeared. Air traffic controllers in Denver were stunned when the plane landed on an empty runway, its lights flickering. But there was no one on board. The seats were intact, luggage still stowed, and the cockpit was empty. Investigators found only one clue. The plane's black box recorded hours of static, interrupted by a single chilling phrase whispered over and over, "They took us." The plane was quietly dismantled, and officials dismissed the incident as a hoax. But late at night, conspiracy forums buzz with theories. Some say Flight 717 never landed at all, that what returned wasn't the same plane. Others claim to hear faint whispers when passing near the Denver airport, as if the passengers are still calling for help. It started with sudden blackouts. Entire neighborhoods plunged into darkness, always at 3 a.m., lasting exactly 13 minutes. When the power returned, residents reported the same thing. Their TVs and radios turned on, broadcasting a faint signal. The broadcast was eerie, distorted voices, static, and a faint, rhythmic tapping. Those who listened too closely swore they heard their own names whispered. Maya, a night owl, decided to investigate. When the blackout hit her street, she lit a candle and turned on her radio. The static came first, then the voices, faint and overlapping. She froze when she heard her name, spoken in her own voice. Suddenly, the tapping grew louder, more deliberate, as if someone or something was inside her house. She grabbed her flashlight and followed the sound to her living room. Her TV had turned on, showing a live feed of her standing there, holding the flashlight. Then the screen flickered, and a shadow appeared behind her in the broadcast. Maya spun around, but the room was empty. The voice from the TV whispered, "You've been chosen." When the power returned, Maya was gone. Her house was left undisturbed, except for the TV, which played static on an endless loop. Conspiracy theorists claim the blackouts are tests for a larger event, a way to identify and take targets. But those who disappear never return, and the broadcasts continue, whispering new names into the night. It started as a rumor on conspiracy forums. A strange radio frequency, dubbed the Black Signal, could be picked up at exactly 3:03 a.m. on shortwave radios. Those who tuned in claimed to hear a distorted voice delivering cryptic messages, coordinates, or chilling warnings like, "They are watching." Jake, a self-proclaimed conspiracy enthusiast, decided to investigate. He dusted off an old radio, set his alarm for 3 a.m., and tuned in. At first, there was only static. Faintly, a voice emerged, crackling and disjointed. "Do not look outside," it said. Jake froze, heart pounding. Against his better judgment, he glanced at the window. A dark figure stood motionless in the yard, its outline barely visible in the moonlight. The next night, curiosity overtook fear. He tuned in again. This time, the voice whispered coordinates, his exact location. "Leave now," it added. By the third night, the voice grew clearer. They know you're listening, it hissed. The lights in Jake's house flickered and his phone vibrated. A text appeared. Stop. Terrified, Jake unplugged the radio and smashed it, but the signal didn't stop. His TV flickered on, displaying static, and the voice returned, louder than ever. You can't run. The next morning, Jake was gone. His house was empty, save for a single unmarked radio sitting on the table, still tuned to the black signal. The forums went silent after that, but some claim the signal still broadcasts, waiting for its next listener.
What if I told you there's a forest so haunted, locals won't set foot in it after dark? Deep in Romania lies the Hoia Baciu Forest, often called the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania. Known for its twisted trees and eerie silence, the forest is home to countless tales of disappearances, ghostly apparitions, and unexplainable phenomena. Legend has it that a shepherd once entered the forest with 200 sheep, and none of them were ever seen again. Another story speaks of a little girl who vanished, only to reappear years later, unchanged and with no memory of where she'd been. People report feeling watched, sudden nausea, and even strange lights floating between the trees. And then there's the forest's infamous clearing, a perfect circle where nothing grows, said to be a portal to another dimension. Paranormal investigators have recorded bizarre energy readings here, but no one can explain why it exists. Would you dare to enter this forest of nightmares? Subscribe for more spine-chilling tales from around the world.
It started with a strange notification. People would receive a message on their phone that simply said, "You've been scheduled." No sender, no details, just a date and time. Emma got hers at midnight. The notification appeared even though her phone was on airplane mode. "You've been scheduled, 3 a.m. tomorrow." She tried deleting it, but it wouldn't go away. By morning, rumors online revealed others had received the same message. Theories ranged from a viral prank to hackers, but one thing stood out: no one who reached their scheduled time was ever heard from again. Emma stayed awake that night, every light on, clutching her phone. At exactly 3 a.m., the lights flickered, and her phone buzzed. The screen lit up with a live feed of her own living room. In the video, a figure stood behind her. Emma spun around, but the room was empty. The screen now displayed a countdown. Panicked, she tried to call for help, but her phone was locked to the timer. The figure reappeared on the screen, closer now, its face blurred but its intent clear. The countdown hit 0. The screen went black. The next day, Emma's apartment was silent. Her phone lay on the floor, the notification still glowing. "You've been scheduled." Conspiracy theorists claim the notifications are part of a sinister AI experiment or a ritualistic purge, but no one knows who or what is behind it. All they know is when the message comes, you can't escape your appointment.